Welcome on my YouTube channel, Dr. Nasir Live 360. Today, Sydney International Medical Graduate Society have organized a picnic party for international medical graduates at Botanical Garden. So I'm going there, but everyone have to bring their own food from their own country. So there will be people from the different backgrounds. So I have decided to get the spicy biryani from Pakistan. So I'm in open to get the biryani from the student biryani restaurant. So let's see and get the biryani now and we'll see how it goes.
1 hour later.
Yeah, picnic. People are enjoying the food. So there is a food. These are samosas. I don't know the name. That's the biryani there. Hello, my name is Dr. Nasir and you are watching me on Dr. Nasir Live 360. Today, International Medical Graduate Sydney Society have organized a picnic party for the international medical graduates, and we have one of the senior doctor, Dr. Rizwan, also here, and he will speak with you guys in a while. And now I have Dr. Laura with me, and she will tell you all about especially the European doctors, how they can come into and start working in Australian health system. So let me bring the camera on Dr. Laura. So
hello.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Now you can tell us about how the European doctors can come into this system.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nasir. So for a European doctor to actually come into the system, well, depending on where you are, normally if you are not part of the UK, you won't be able to access through competent pathway. So you have to access through a standard pathway. So to do that, you need to prepare for your AMC1, which is an MCQ question all theory based. It has like an undergraduate level, but it does take a while to prepare, and it's very important to get it done as soon as possible. After that, the second part of the standard pathway will be a clinical exam or practical exam, or the option to do work-based assessment, but that has to be already in Australia. So once you pass your MCQ, which takes a preparation of like 4 months, 6 months, if you are kind of used to of your theory. If not, it will take a little bit longer. Once you pass that exam, then you are eligible to do clinical exam, which is a practical exam. But the most important thing is that you're eligible to work in Australia. So as soon as you pass that first exam, then you can actually work as a doctor in Australia if you have a job offer. So the idea is once you pass the exam, start applying for jobs. If you get a job in Australia, you can start working as an RMO, for example, and after that you'll be able to get a work-based assessment if your hospital offers that, or if you get a position in a hospital that offers. Work-based assessment is a 6-month program that after that, once you pass your assessments, you are granted with provisional registration, which will be the next step. So after AMC1, you get limited registration, and after work-based assessment or the clinical exam, you get provisional registration. After that, then you can just start working and complete 1 year of work rotations and get general registration in Australia. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you
it.
so much. The next part of the video, I am presenting Dr. Rizwan with me, and he will tell you about how the Pakistani and Indian and Bangladeshi doctor can start working in Australia. So let's move the camera toward Dr. Rizwan.
Hello.
And I'll give a little introduction of Dr. Rizwan. Is a consultant in emergency medicine in Sydney in Liverpool Hospital and in the Wollongong Hospital. So he's very famous among the all IMGs. He's running like a online platform for preparation of the exams.
Yeah.
That is IMGFocus.com. So and let's hear more about by himself.
Okay, so Nasir was just asking me a question that like how to get a job in Australia for different IMGs, and I think the first thing that you've got to realize that this is the best country. I mean, you look at the weather. Nasir, show. This is the beautiful harbour. We've got an opera house there.
Yes.
So this is the best country to train. This is the best country to live. with the racial equality and good pay and work-life balance. So this is a good country to be in. Now, first of all, I say there are three things which are required for the doctors to come and have a job here. Number one, you should have as little as possible as a career gap. So you should be working in a system. So those of you who are working in Pakistan, who are working in India or Bangladesh or Afghanistan or any of the country, please keep your job. Once you're keeping your job, the employers are already interested in. And what jobs they are? They're the jobs in emergency medicine, acute medicine, geriatrics, pediatrics, ICU. I have recently helped 3 or 4 candidates who have just interviewed last week who've been shortlisted in Malaysia, in India, in Sri Lanka whilst being in their country. They've done obviously AMC 1. The second thing that you've got to do is invest in Australian exam. So that is AMC Part 1, and AMC Part 1 is unique because as soon as you do AMC Part 1, you're eligible for registration and start to work, and you can do AMC Part 2 later. So there's not even a requirement that you have to do Part 1 and Part 2 both. You can just do Part 1 and be registered to work here in Australia. And the third thing, if you're onshore, if you're working in Australia, then please make sure that you keep yourself updated with the skills. So do courses here like clinical procedure skills course, orientation course, ALS course, BLS course onshore here in Australia. Obviously, if you're doing courses back home in country, that's also fine. But doing onshore courses, it improves the confidence of the employer that these courses are good. They've been engaging themselves with the local community. They've been engaging with the local tutors and course providers, and they tend to hire you or prefer you when they're offering the jobs. So believe in yourself, keep working as a doctor in your home country, have as little experience, like not more than 6 months. Come over here, do AMC 1, start applying for jobs. But don't waste time. Don't waste time doing unnecessary things and keep on working.
So I have another question. Like a lot of my senior, juniors, my classmates, they were asking me about the AMC and coming here in Australia to start working as a doctor. So I always tell them that's quite expensive exams, like AMC 1, 2, they both are very expensive exams as compared to the USMLE and the PLAB. So I tell them they have to do the PLAB, and then they have to work in UK for 1 year or 2 years, and they get the GMC registration, and then they can come in Australia on a there are different pathway for that, competent authority pathway, and then they can register it without the AMC 1 and 2. So is that worth it, or is it possible, or I'm giving the right advice or not?
So look, I'll answer your question in two points. Number one point, the most expensive thing, Nasir, is your time. The most important and expensive thing is your time. If you're advising your seniors and your colleagues back home that you should go to the UK and then come here via the competent authority pathway, I'm yet to see that number of doctors coming from the UK through the competent authority pathway. They do come, but not in those great numbers. Because you have to realize it takes a lot of effort to get adjusted into the UK system. That's PLAB 1, PLAB 2, and finally you get the job. So the same amount of investment of work and efforts that you're doing here, you have to do in the UK. Then why would you like to leave that system that you now finally got a job and then come over to Australia and start things in the middle? Once you've already spent like 1 year in the UK system, you might as well carry on till the... I get a lot of inquiries that I want to go from Pakistan to the UK and then come to Australia. Things change. Who knows after 1 year what your preferences will be like. You might be well adjusted in the UK system. Plus right now the other part which I'm going to say is that there are not many dates for PLAB 1 and PLAB 2. So people are wasting their time looking for exam date. I think the backlog is like somewhere like 18 months for some of the dates for these exams like PLAB Part 2.
Yeah,
so
for
you're
the
wasting
AMC
your
1
time.
they can get it straight away.
Is AMC 1 you can get straight away, and the beautiful thing about AMC 1 is you're immediately able to apply for jobs after AMC 1, and people are getting jobs after AMC 1. So do your AMC 1, have your credentials in running without any career gap, and then invest in single system. Don't jump ship from UK to Australia and then I'm not getting a job in Australia, shall I go to UK? It doesn't work like that. When I was in the UK, obviously I spent like 3 years there. I was wholeheartedly dedicated to UK. it was only at the end of my 3 years working there, after my full registration, which I was not getting training positions in emergency. I didn't want to waste my time. And that's why I decided I need to come to Australia. It wasn't my choice that I'm going to go to the UK and come to Australia. Nobody even knew about Australia back in 2007.
Okay.
So still my advice is the same. If you're invested in one system, with whole dedication invest in that system. Don't be like half and half.
Okay, thank you so much.
Not a problem.
So one of the doctor is birthday today. So everyone is wishing her.
I just celebrated my 16th. Yes, so have them. I knew, so that's why I brought the cake.
I just want to take one selfie with all of you.
Very good.
So we are going to cut the cake for one of the doctor's birthday. So
Can you please give the credit who remind you for her birthday?
so everyone's ready.
There's plenty of resilience stories, and I'd like to just reflect on this one moment. None of the stories are without any sacrifice and compromise. So even though they may look like a very heavy story, but everybody has got their own shares of problems. Personal problem, professional problems, whatever you may like to call them. There have been some mental health issues, there have been some family front issues, everyone. So make this sacrifice and compromise into a part of your success story, because you've given too much. And kudos to all the husbands, including Chelsea, who are actually supporting you in these courses and workshops and get-togethers. That's really important. And in terms of getting a job, inshallah, all of you will get a job. It's just a matter of time.
Inshallah.
And focus on, as I said, most of you, 3 strategies. Your recency. If you have got a gap of more than 12 months or 6 months, go back to wherever you come from. Just do a fresh approach in emergency medicine or acute medicine. Number 2, if you've not done part 2, do your part 2. If you've not done part 1, talk to Laura. Okay. And number 3, if you're on shore and you've done recency, you've done part 2, then you should do courses. ALS, BLS, orientation, procedural skills courses, because these things matter on the shore. And you're not far away. Honestly, you're not far away. And you just have to ooze this positivity.
Don't.
And it is going to happen. And look at, I like to mention Simba.
Just finish this, man. Don't make everyone.
You all know Simba. It was literally her visa was expiring and she was about to go, which reminded me of my own story, that my visa was expiring in the UK. And it was like all running out, and I'd even had the tickets back home. Like, honestly, how serious could it get? And then, I got shortlisted.
Just close this one, okay?
I
Thank you.
interviewed the hell out of it. And I got the job. And then rest, everything changes. But this is just the first step of many steps, but this is the biggest step. And once you've done it, everything is good. So have a nice time. I better get out now. And thank you, Laura. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rizwan. Yeah.
As well, and for sponsoring us.
Keep up the good work. All right?
Mommy, this is you, kid.
Thank
So now that we got all of you guys here together, in your little bags, in those bags, we got some information about EmergencyFocus because they sponsor us and they are great. Like, we love them so much. But we have this little thing, and here the idea is to write your goals, like what you want to do or your dream, and then you have to switch it with another person. And the next time that we meet, the idea is to bring it again and see if you have that person with you, if they made it or not. So it's a way. The last time we had little plants that I gave away because I couldn't bring the little plants for everyone. And that the plant grew over time. So this time we'll do it, okay? So get that and then write it down. And then let's mix it up with each other, okay? And eat and do everything.
Eat and be merry.
Here it is.